too loud.
Yeah,
15's great.
I've got it like turned down.
Yeah, okay. Alright, I'll just start right now anyway.
Yeah. Right.
So, how was everyone today then?
You wanna go first?
Yeah, I'm decent, me. Um,
Uh,
yeah, just decent.
yeah. It's kind of been hard getting up to certain things. Obviously, with lockdown, well, without giving away our addresses, we're in Liverpool, which is in Tier 3 lockdown. So what we can really go about and do is sort of limited. But I guess we've been making do.
Yeah, do.
Yeah, it's hard to see family, hard to see friends and all
Yeah. Uh. Well, obviously we'll still see friends in school, which still makes no sense to me. I don't understand why the government's ended up doing that. You're not allowed to go
that. Yeah,
outside and meet your friends, but you can go to school and meet your friends.
yeah, because a lot of cases are evolved around the school at this point now. Like,
Yeah,
well, I get how they have to keep the schools open, like, but God's sake. Yeah,
uh,
you get me.
well, with the new vaccine news, I feel like, well, the government have said it's gonna take what? They're gonna start rolling out this experimental vaccine this month, and then
Yeah.
by the start of next year, it should be starting like rolling out to the rest of the country.
Let's just hope it all goes well, because you gotta consider the fact that it could fail. You know what I mean?
It's only got a 90% success rate as well, so it's not exactly the
Still, that
most effective
10%
thing.
is, yeah.
Mm, yeah.
You
Well,
got anything to say about this?
H,
What?
you're not paying attention.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Oh yeah, you're being really professional about this. I feel like
Yeah.
uh, I reckon we should probably just stick between me and Ethan speaking, and then you can chime in when you feel is necessary. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was gonna do.
Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
right then.
Personally, I think the way the government have gone about the second lockdown, or
Yeah.
whatever they're calling it, is not right. I feel like the first time they did it was it lasted for too long, and the things that were closed that didn't need to be closed, and the things that weren't closed that did need to be closed, literally just shambles. The fact that they've gone about it in that way literally just shows us how unprofessional our government is, especially when presented with a challenge this obviously challenging.
Yeah, it really is mad.
Mm.
There's the coronavirus is it came suddenly, so no one actually knew how to react. So I get that point, but they handle it horribly, like with the first lockdown and all that. Like they didn't know what they were doing with themselves. They were just kind of giving out these random rules, and then at the end, it was like as Boris just thought he controlled the virus itself and just started releasing everyone at that point. As soon as he released some of the rules, just everyone just went out at that point.
That's the thing as well. They had no idea what they were doing in the first lockdown, which is excusable. Obviously, no one in the world had ever. This has never happened before. Something of this magnitude
Yeah.
has literally never happened in the history of like the human race. The world has never had to lock down, so obviously it's gonna be hard closing a country. We understand that. But for this second time, the fact that they're going about it in this way, after
Mm.
they've had this opportunity to learn from the mistakes and they haven't. They're literally making more mistakes, and it really grates my cheese.
What a way to put it! What a way to put it!
Yeah.
Yeah, it does as well. It does. You got to count on the fact as well that the people are probably really upset about this. So, like, riots have been discussed and all that, and the government also trying to prevent riots from spreading as well. I don't know. I don't get how.
Carry on.
Uh, yeah, let's move on from that.
Right. Yeah. I don't feel like staying on such a. I don't. I don't want to say a sensitive topic, but
An uncomfortable topic.
I know it's an uncomfortable topic. Thanks.
Just bring up
Uh,
the topic. What have we got? Don't
right.
don't
We've got
do one of the random
we've
ones.
got the new consoles now. That's
The new consoles.
what this is the first time since when did the Xbox One PS4 come out?
Oh, 25th.
2006.
No. Because I remember it because GTA was on like a mix of both of the GTA was on a mix of both of the consoles.
Consoles.
So for example, you had it on the 360 and the Xbox One at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Was it the same with the PS 3 and 4?
Yeah, yeah.
Did
Same,
that come
same
out
with
in
PS3 and 4.
2013?
So yeah, so that was 2013, 2014.
Wow, GTA's been out for a long time, hasn't it?
I always forget how long it's been going, and it's actually still got a decently thriving community. It's like CS. We were talking about CS before.
Yeah.
Still going strong 8 years in. But
It's mad.
The
but yeah,
difference with CS is that it has an in-game economy.
that well, GTA. It was always we knew from when it first came out what it was breaking records on like literally release day. We knew it was gonna it wasn't gonna go away soon, and clearly
Mm,
7 years on it hasn't. And but
yeah. Well, back onto the consoles. It's mad to see them years fly by really quickly. With my first time getting a PS4, I got it quite late because I think I got it around like 2017, 2018,
yeah,
something on them lines.
same with me.
And so I got it pretty late, and I got the PS4. I didn't go for the Xbox. And it's
I'll,
just mad seeing how the PS5 is out now. It's new generations and all that. It just feels like the PS4 is our granddad or something.
are any of us planning on getting either of the consoles?
Nah.
I'm not going for one of the
Nah.
consoles. I am instead planning to buy myself a PC instead.
Way. He's upset.
Had a minute to record this where
Oh,
I am using my MacBook.
on the topic of PCs, obviously you've just said you're upgrading to a PC. Uh, One of the
Hmm.
members of our Discord that we're in, Michael, we're hoping to get him as a guest star on the podcast once in the future. You're meant to be
Hmm.
building your PC with him, aren't you? Or he's meant to be building your PC.
Yeah, I discussed it with him and all that. Like beforehand, we had a firm discussion about it and all that, and like what parts to get, what things to do and all that. And I followed them. I got a whole list of parts that you've sent to me,
Yeah.
and once Christmas comes by and all that, I'm gonna have a little look at them parts and then see if I can order them.
For anyone that's interested in computers, um, the specs that we're looking at, I can't remember the exact ones, but processor, I think it was the Ryzen 5 3600,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
GTX 1660 Super or TI, don't remember. Um, and then obviously the standard 16 gig RAM, and then just 40-50 pound. What was it? The Corsair Airflow 4000, 5000 case, something along those
Yeah,
lines.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So pretty decent build for your first PC. Obviously
Yeah, that's...
the majority of us have gone with a pre-built for our first computer, which in the long run probably wasn't the best of ideas, but I mean it gets the job done, and that's what we look for in a computer, really.
Yeah, we just look for something that can just run all the basic games and all that. You
Yeah.
don't want something that's overly complicated. You just really just want something that does what you want it to do. Like you don't want to go all out full ray trace and all that.
Yeah.
Like proper real life to the molecular structure. Like that kind of laptop. You don't want not laptop PC. You don't want that.
While we're on the topic of new things that are coming out, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I know H, you're excited for this,
Um,
aren't you?
I've already been playing it for 2 days.
yeah, I've in the past, I've not really focused too much on like Call of Duty games and all that.
Yeah.
I know, I've played I did play a lot of Black Ops 3 in the, back a couple of years back.
Yeah, definitely.
I played World War Two with friends and stuff. So I didn't do that too much, and I played a bit of Warzone, but kind of
I could
it
never
wasn't
really
my
get
type of
into
game.
Warzone. As Modern
Yeah,
Warfare,
same.
I obviously Oryn was fuck. You've got to go as Oryn now.
I hate you.
Yeah. Obviously you were game sharing the Modern Warfare with me, so I mean yeah. I never really got into what I think literally the whole time I played one game of Warzone.
Warzone,
Mm.
in my
Yeah.
I
opinion,
played.
shit.
That's a good point.
Well,
This man speaking
obviously everyone's
facts.
entitled to their own opinion. Personally, I agree with you. I didn't really find it that good.
I didn't find it very,
But
very, very
But
good either.
Activision's making money off it, so you know.
it's yeah. At the end of the day, they are a business, and
I
businesses
can
need to make
understand
money.
why people like the game. It's very realistic in its mechanics and stuff, and it's. I think they just made the game more to compete with things like Fortnite, PUBG at the time as well. You know what I mean? Fall Guys came out that well, no, the Fall Guys come out. Yeah, Fall Guys came out after.
This was around like nearing the end of the first lockdown as well, so a lot of people are inside playing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um.
I never really got into the game to be honest.
We spoke briefly about Fortnite then. A game I'm pretty sure all three of us used to enjoy. Oh, fucking loads
Definitely
back in the day.
back
Round
in the days.
round season 2, 3, 4 at a push.
Oh,
I'd honestly, obviously, we're like what? We're in
I
our
can.
we're in our mid-teenage years, so we haven't really lived throughout the whole spectrum of gaming. So obviously we weren't around when the first Mario games came out. But especially in
I
our
played some early
lifetimes,
Mario's like. Yeah.
this is well, I mean, it is literally the biggest game of all time, and enjoying it in its prime
Hmm.
was just getting home after school in the winter with friends and playing some Fortnite. It was
Remember when the snow
And
got
then for
too
about
heavy
two
and
months,
stuff? So
people
we.
made fun of it
yeah,
on Reddit, and we just complied.
the season 2 of Fortnite. That season 2, the amount of memories I've got from that, just doing some being horrible at the game, and everyone else was horrible, and it was literally just so much fun. And it's kind of
Yeah.
upsetting to see the state of the game now. What 15, 16 seasons in now? Uh, thereabouts. Um, and it's all respect to the game, all respect to Epic. It's a gradually it's going downhill. Um,
It went
and
downhill.
it has been for a long time. But thinking back, I think it was season 6 was the tipping point.
It
When they
was.
first came out with what the walkers, the zombies or whatever. That was when we
Yeah.
first heard the community of Fortnite not really
So,
enjoying the game, and it just went down from there.
so when did you officially like quit Fortnite and move on to other things then?
It took me a while to stop playing Fortnite. I was playing literally every day, all the way from season 1 all the way up to, I'd say, season 10. Maybe chapter 2 season 1 was when I first stopped playing the game. I was taking like month breaks from it and then coming back. And since
Mm.
then, it's just something that for some reason I've kept on my hard drive, and I'll boot up every now and again.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just one like just in the back room basically.
When did you stop playing?
I stopped. So it's hard to explain. So I started playing at around about season two. No, yeah, season two. I started playing just at the end of it and gone on to season three. That's when I bought my first battle pass. Season three,
Yeah,
great back
John Wick.
then. Just amazing, amazing places and stuff, and the story. When we started to get introduced to meteorites and stuff, Blockbuster and all that. It started. I think that's when it was first entering its downhill stage, at a very early stage, sadly as well. But it was still a decent game at the time. I still played it back then. It was still a good concept. It's when it started introducing things like helicopters, you got your planes, there was some other guns that started getting introduced, some things nerfed, broke. Um, the meta of the game just changed, and it was. It's actually sad because it was a really good game and you could just have fun with your mates on it, but because the fact that the meta had all changed and all that, it's like the game started requiring less skill and just more pure luck at that point.
I've noticed that trend with a lot of games out now. The game's thriving. It's got the idea. The base game is what helps it thrive in obviously today's climate and video games, and then
Yeah,
it it goes back to the old story of Icarus. He flies up too high. He gets too close to the sun, melts his wax wings, and obviously eventually dies. It's like, so say Rainbow Six Siege, for example, a game that was riding high for years on end, and then only recently with the introduction, I think Aruni is the new operator, and a few operators before it, they start introducing unnecessarily futuristic gadgets like the new laser gate. Then you had clones that would run into the building, and it it took away from what
yeah, the
made the game
meta.
special. Exactly the meta. Same with Fortnite. They start introducing things that stray away from what made the game special, and
It did, yeah. What made the game special was its simplicity. It's a bunch of people, you grab weapons, and you kill people until you get to number one. And that was the whole meta. And people enjoyed that. You had fun with your mates, you had fun with people, you had your duos and squads. And even you had them little mini games, you had the 50v50, you had the sniper only, legendaries only, rocket launchers, and all that. And all that was simple. It was just the same meta. But then you get introduced with planes,
What
you
season
start
did
shooting
Playground
people
Mode
out the
get out?
sky.
uh,
Then when you
I'm pretty sure that was like season 5, season 6. Carry on.
That's
yeah,
yeah,
well,
that's exactly when the game started getting worse.
yeah. So, like I was saying before, you get planes and all that, and when you're building your forts and stuff, you got to change up the meta. You got to change up how you play, but it's hard to do that because then you got to build a roof over your head, but then they can still shoot your walls and shoot you down and all that, and it was just horrible to play. It was really, really just bad, and it started going much, much worse from down there. Quad bikes were introduced and stuff. The golf carts were an exception from them. Like season 5 golf carts, I
Yeah, I remember
enjoyed
them.
them. I thought they were all right. I thought they made the game a bit better actually because you actually had a vehicle you could ride. But when planes were introduced, it was like,
Oh,
no, it doesn't work with the game.
that was actually this. I forgot about this. What was it? The golf carts were the second actually edition of vehicles for Fortnite.
Yeah, the shopping trolley.
The shopping trolley.
Oh, the shopping
Yeah.
trolley. Yeah.
Oh, this whole episode is just gonna be Fortnite nostalgia. But I remember the first day that shopping carts released. I didn't know where they were gonna spawn, but I knew one place, and it was that dirt track over by where Paradise Palms ended up being.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there was
yeah.
like the whole lobby was dropping there. It was they were all fighting for this stupid little shopping cart. That was that was when it peaked. That like just
Nah, but about season 5 or 6, like when fucking Playground Mode got added, that's when it got bad. Because then people had the time to train, people were actually getting good at building,
exactly.
and everyone was sweating to fuck.
Yeah.
It's a fair point, but you can also back up the idea that it started introducing a lot more mini games to the game, which again took away its whole meta.
It's definitely a combination of different things. It was introducing, because we were getting weekly updates. Literally every week there was a new item, there was new locations or whatever, there were new
And
things
literally,
that were involved in the game that kept changing the meta, and because of this constant addition of new things, and obviously, Oryn, like you said with the playground mode, everyone was training, everyone was getting better at such a fast pace with all these new items coming in. It was like the influx of the just the influx of like the amount of things that were coming in, added on to obviously the skill gap being higher and higher and higher, with the playground mode being introduced. It, like I was saying, it's a combination of different things that obviously will inevitably resulted in the downfall of Fortnite.
Yeah, it's sad. It was such a good game as well. Um, what else was there in Fortnite as well? It was
It could
great.
it could also be, well, just to do with us growing up really. It's hard, obviously, 15, 16, it's hard to find enjoyment in a game where you're all cartoons and you're a
Fortnite really displayed that very well when it first came
that
out.
I think that's what got us hooked. What, it was like 3 years ago now, so we were like 12, 13.
The
It's
simplicity
so
was just,
weird to think back on that we were that young when the game first came out, 12, 13,
yeah,
and now obviously 15, 16, we're applying for colleges and stuff. Uh,
it's a
it,
mad change. It's a mad
it's
change.
mental. Actually, on the topic of colleges, what today you used to, it only just apply for your colleges, that you're placed in colleges, haven't you?
Yeah, going for the
Collagen.
music course. As you know, I'm a big fan of
Well,
music and stuff.
well,
And,
we don't know, do we? Obviously, this is a new podcast, so do you want to speak about that?
oh yeah, of course, of course. I like my music and all that. I like a piano player. I've been playing for about like 4 years or so more. So bass guitar, classic guitar, got a mandolin up there, got a ukulele as well. I got all sorts, and I really just I like music. Music is just a way to express emotions, feelings into sound, into different frequencies that our ears just like. It's just music is just an amazing concept, and over the years, just developing into different eras. When you got medieval music, it's just amazing. When you got first instruments to introduce the first style of a guitar, and then it just breaks down into different cultures. Then you got like places like Japan, China, Russia. You got all them different places just getting their own types of music, and then they all join together in this big bundle, this big mess, and then you got loads of different other genres springing from all them, and you just got it just develops into what we have today. It's just amazing. Music is just you can't go wrong with it. It's just a way to express every. It's a way to express life. It's a way to express history, of feeling, thoughts. It's just it's a story. It's a big story of everything.
I think the way you've gone about explaining that was actually without sounding cringy, that was actually beautiful. I regret saying that now, but the way you portray music as a story, uh, I feel like you'd be a really good storyteller,
Hmm. I have got a few
which is
stories.
well, obviously, uh, I hope that you're a good business partner or co-host in this podcast. But
Yeah.
as we were talking about music, obviously I've just been well, I should be, as this podcast goes out, editing a video where we literally just sit there for what, 20 minutes and just speak while listening to an array of copyrighted
It's
music.
nothing. It's literally nothing. It's just us messing about, just having a
And
bit of fun.
one of the songs we listened to, Baka Matai, but I don't know, I've definitely butchered that. And what does that remind you of? Maths Dame Dane? Ring any bells?
Does anyone listening have any
Oh,
context?
A legend of the Xenoth YouTube channel, Justin
the
Conway.
mascot.
Justin, literally the mascot of the Xenoth YouTube channel, Justin Conway. Uh,
You should
for
be the profile picture.
obviously you don't know, new listeners or people obviously listening to the podcast for the first time, or people that have never viewed my YouTube channel. Conway is the name of our maths teacher from school. That he has a really unique personality. uh, wi- is a way to describe him without risking exclusion. Um,
Is it just gonna
yeah,
know?
he's a character. He's a character. Big Welsh lad. I regret calling him that. Um, but however much we want to say, we don't. We all love Conway, except for maybe Gerard. Gerard doesn't like Conway.
This is going public.
Well, it is what it is. But yeah,
Oh.
especially with my YouTube channel, Conway's been uh, a member of a lot of my videos. Most recent, not directly, but I made a joke. Obviously, he's without doxing him. It involved the town in which he was born, and it was, in my opinion, a very funny video that I felt the need to email him directly. Um, so yeah, and
We're gonna look back on this podcast like 5 years time,
oh my
and then
god,
just hear this.
exactly. Oh, we're gonna have no idea
You
what's going on.
realize you told them the YouTube channel so they could just go to the YouTube channel and watch the video and just get him doxxed.
Do you really think that people care that much?
Do you really think that people are going to find this channel?
Exactly.
Do you realize 12 people are gonna?
Yeah, literally 12 people are gonna watch this or listen to this, and no
There's
one,
like, yeah,
zero out
people.
of those 12 people are gonna do anything about it. One of the topics I've got written down here, I can't think of a way to segue it in naturally, so we're just gonna move on. Hitler. You, you, you wanted
That is really bad.
you wanted to talk about Hitler, did you?
As if it isn't your list.
Is it? Oh, it's my list. It was a recommendation from Ethan.
It was a
So
recommendation from me because I wanted to talk about for one reason, just how it's a represent. How can I explain it? He's a character. I can say that.
you've got to speak really carefully here, because one wrong word will get you cancelled.
About 10 people are going to see this and Twitter will annihilate you. No matter who it is.
Somehow, cancel culture Twitter will find this and they will cancel you. There's no escape, so tread lightly.
All right, let me just think of my words here quickly.
Go
The reason
on.
why I wanted to talk about him is because of how stupid it was for him to be able to get into power that easily. Like, by the way, I just wanted to I wanted it to kind of flow into this topic, not just rush it out suddenly.
Look, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Out of all the topics we've gone over, there was zero chance that I was gonna be able to naturally blend in Hitler with anything. The closest thing I could have done is we briefly talked about Black Ops Cold War, Hitler, but that's a bit of a stretch. So
That is a bit of a stretch, yeah.
Actually,
anyways,
no, you could have tied it in a bit more, but I'd sound
So
like
when
a
I mentioned him,
twat if I did, so.
I didn't mean him specifically. I meant like the whole of Nazi Germany in that time. You get what I mean?
I mean, the floor is yours. It's your podcast. You speak about whatever you want to speak about.
So it was it's mad because of how he was in the right places at the right time, and he was able to kind of figure out a way to rise into power so easily. It's just mad. No, for example, he just abused the power that he was given and managed to get himself higher up. That's basically the best explanation and the quickest way I can give it. And it's just mad how someone like him can get into power, and he's just literally a prime example of how things should not be. For a man like him, probably got some mental instability inside of him.
Well,
Is
more.
not anymore, is able to control the whole of Germany and basically start World War II is just it's horrific. It's stupid, and the prime thing as well with that is that it wasn't very long ago. It was only like less than 100 years ago. So a mistake like that happening should not happen again, especially around these times.
Well, it all stems from things that have been here long before World War One, World War Two, or Hitler himself. Obviously, all wars start with disagreements. No one can agree with someone else and then go to war with them. So war has to
Yeah, the
start with
thing
a
is,
disagreement, and people
like I,
people are gonna
mm,
disagree no matter the circumstance. So
I've got a prime example of disagreement, and it's Archduke Franz Ferdinand with life.
mm-hmm.
right, moving on swiftly. Any right. Again, I can't think of a segue, so let's move on from
Wait.
Archduke
We
Ferdinand.
go back to that topic again. I need to
Would you
say
like to
Oh,
some
say
more
that a
things
bit
about
more
it.
coherently?
you wanna go back to Archduke Franz Ferdinand, yeah?
No, not that bit.
No.
Not that bit. I just wanted to say like another example of how he was in the right place at the right time was the fact that um, people were desperate back then because of World War One and all that, and how they were the effects the country had on them and all that. They were desperate for a leader or something, and the fact that Hitler was there and he gave these orders hiding his actual intentions led people to actually vote for him to be chancellor. You get what I mean? Well, to control the Reichstag and all that.
Obviously, not directly, but it's sort of similar to how it is today. Obviously, not very similar, but the way that politicians are hiding their true intentions in like this shell of lies to obviously the public.
Oh yeah, of
So
course. I'm guessing this is.
that's gonna happen with anyone. So the only way you're gonna get into Parliament or into the White House, say you're in America, well, this is obviously very
Mhm.
on topic with Biden being elected the what 52nd, 54th,
52nd, I think.
52nd
52nd.
president of the United States. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so this is on topic. No matter what happens, you're always gonna have no politician's gonna live up to every single thing that they set out to do. So, for example, the leader of the Labour Party, obviously, well, not anymore, Jeremy Corbyn. I
Mm-hmm.
personally support Labour. I can't vote. I'm 15. Uh, if I could, I'd vote Labour. But
Why don't you just tell them your fucking social security number?
because I don't have one, because I'm 15.
You
I
can
don't,
never get the right choice though. If you're voting, you can never get the right choice because they're always going to hide something from you.
yeah, what? That's the problem. What you choose, the politician you choose, the party that you choose, you're not making that choice because you're making a choice about something that isn't gonna happen. So
Yeah. So
let's say Jeremy Corbyn, I'm making this up on the spot, he's gonna make school dinners free for every kid in the country. But so
mm,
he's now in Parliament, he's the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Is he gonna do that? Could do.
I think he's
He
done.
could
He
do,
could.
but he's
I mean, he's not Maggie Thatcher, so he probably would.
He probably used that as an influence for people to vote him. And going
it's
back to
it's literally clickbait. It's clickbait. It's
mhm.
politician clickbait. I will do this if you vote for me. They get the votes. They don't do it. It
Yeah.
yeah. So go on. You were gonna say something that I interrupted you.
Yeah,
Very
I was gonna say.
professional.
So going back to like Hitler, you could in fact blame the Germany itself for voting Hitler. You know what I mean? For
Well,
what happened.
it's all a chain of events. You could blame what. So what was the nationality of the assassin that killed Archduke Franz Ferdinand?
I think he was an Austro-Hungarian.
So yeah. So well, let's say Austro-Hungarians then. So
There was no difference whatsoever.
indirectly, the Austro-Hungarian Empire was the cause for the Holocaust. Obviously, it wasn't, but technically, it also was. If
It's
say
the butterfly effect.
exactly, it's the butterfly effect. It's a chain of events. So
It's
really, you can link anything to anything.
like, for example, I talked
It
about
go
this mad thing this one time.
it goes back to
I
what you were
talked.
saying about Hitler being in the right place at the right time.
Mm. Well, anyway, it was like I came up with this weird theory ages ago, and this probably makes no sense, but because it's like 12:30 at night, I'm gonna
Yeah,
say it anyway.
it's the whole point of the
Um,
podcast.
Everything, if you think about it, every decision is always linked back to one behind it. Say, for example, you were crossing the road, and then you can either go left or you can either go right, and you choose left, and then there's three
A car
turn-ins
cross.
at that point, and you choose one of them. But say if you go back again and you turn right instead, you've got a whole different path ahead of you at that point now.
I'm
Do you get where
sure.
I'm coming from here?
Yeah, I feel like obviously the butterfly effect is a really hard thing to explain. It's obviously very complicated, but I think you've summed it up in it more in layman's terms than anything else.
But if you think about it, if we keep going back on them roads, we keep turning and all that, it's eventually going to link back to one
Yeah,
point where it all started.
it all stems from the same thing. So
So
no
what
matter
I
what,
was
yeah.
thinking, one decision has resulted in where we are today. Technically, it's like random numbers,
That's really
and yeah,
weird to think about, but yeah, yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah.
it's like let me give you another example. Like random numbers, for example, say you're doing an equation or something, yeah, and you use the full number. Say you've got like a load of decimal numbers and using a full number in the equation. So when you get the answer, you're gonna get, I'm guessing, like quite a complicated answer, you know what I mean? Or maybe an even one. But you're gonna get a certain answer. But say if you rounded the numbers at the start and you start using them numbers in the equations, it's all eventually gonna lead further and further away from the answer, if you get what I mean. So when you get the answer, you're going to get a completely different one from when you didn't round it. Do you get what I'm coming from there?
Uh, Obviously it's a hard concept to grasp, but I'm pretty sure we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Uh,
I didn't like the idea of thinking during that, so I just blacked out.
you're treating this really professionally.
Wasn't there another thing that's quite, I don't know if it's
Does it
similar,
matter though?
but I always get similar ideologies from them, but the Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect. Oh, I fucking love this. Go on.
Now, do you have any good examples of this? And just
Uh,
because you said you quite like
obviously,
it.
obviously there's Nelson Mandela to begin with. People who completely believe that he died in prison. Obviously, when he was first in prison, and then it
Hmm.
turned out that he actually died. I think it was 2013. Um,
It's such a weird concept to think about.
and then you've got the Berenstain Bears. I don't think it was something that's very prevalent in the United Kingdom, but it was a series of children's books called the Berenstain Bears. Um, that obviously it affected a lot of people's childhoods. So I assume the equivalent to that for us would let's say, it's hard to think about because I never really read books as a kid. Uh,
Um,
it
the
was more.
Gruffalo.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The Gruffalo or the Very Hungry Caterpillar or stuff like that. I
Yeah.
assume it's the American equivalent to that. I could be wrong. Obviously, I'm not American, but
Hmm.
yeah. So it's almost like, imagine if the Very Hungry Caterpillar, after all these years, was actually called the slightly peckish millipede. And we never knew, and like millions of people were 100% sure it was the Very Hungry Caterpillar, when in actual fact it was the
And see,
slightly peckish
that
millipede.
that can link to the butterfly effect. It's quite hard to explain, but I'll try and
Go
do
on,
my
try,
best.
try and tell me.
Because they think in a certain way because of something else, they're going to make a different decision. Do you get where I'm coming from?
I feel like go on, try and
All right,
try
let
and
me
say
try
that again.
again. Let me try again. I'll
Put it
do
in a
the road
different
example again.
Go on.
So say you got a mate or something, and he's saying, come meet me in this park or something," and then he gives he gives where it is and stuff, but he tells you the wrong direction than it actually is. So because of that, you're going to turn a certain way, which is going to lead you to do different things and make different turns and stuff.
Right. So how do you think that ties into the Mandela effect?
I need a minute to think of an example because it is quite hard to explain. It can link to the Mandela effect because people believe a certain way, they're going to make a decision based on that. For
Right.
example,
I feel like I know where you're coming from.
it's hard to think of an example. Oh, I got a good example. Say, for example, when that guy, like Oryn was saying, that guy got assassinated. Yeah,
Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Yep.
yeah. What about? And this is definitely not true because this is not a part of it. But if people believed it was someone else who killed him,
Right.
and it comes up in a test, and they've got to write down who killed him, so they put the person they think it is, when actually, because of the Mandela effect having an effect on that, it's another person basically.
Right.
Do you get where I'm coming from?
Uh,
I know it's not 100%, but it's just a weird topic to talk
it's
about.
obviously it's a very hard thing to visualize or talk about. I feel
I
like I'm
hope
pretty
some
sure
viewers
I
will
know
get
where
what
you're
I
coming
said.
from. I feel like spending too much time on this topic where none of us are really too sure what's going on. We're not really on the same wavelength.
It's the
It,
reason why we just. I think the reason
I'm
why
not on
it's
any
been.
wavelength.
you might want to tune in.
I think the reason why it's went on for a while is because it's just such a weird concept to think about. We're just given a bunch of different examples of it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's reasonable explanations behind it.
I'll try and I'll search it up now.
There's people who say it could be parallel universes. So in another universe, it was the
Oh yeah,
Berenstain
yeah, with different
birds.
decisions. Like say you turn one way, but in another.
Yeah,
But if you turn the other way,
exactly. Yeah. So in this dimension, you turn that way and that happened, and then in obviously your dimension, you turn that way and that happened. It goes back to the butterfly effect and the Mandela effect. But
hmm
I mean, obviously, very recently scientists confirmed the existence of parallel universes, so it could very well that could be a
they
reasonable
confirmed it.
explanation for it. Yeah, they confirmed the existence of at least one parallel universe.
How?
I have no idea.
Wait, I have
I
searched
have
this up.
no idea. Um,
Keep on talking. Keep on talking.
yeah, I'll try and fill in the dead air while
I'll read the
you're
definition of it anyway. Because I've just searched it up. From science fiction to science fact. Oh,
oi oi,
it's a fact.
it's a fact.
There is a concept that suggests that there could be other universes besides our own, where all the choices you made in this life played out in an alternate realities. The concept is known as parallel universe and is a facet of the astronomical theory of the multiverse. Now, personally, I don't know how to feel about this. If you think about it, the universe, the cosmos is like infinitely large, and it's just hard to describe how big it is. You know what I mean? We can only see a
As a
portion of it.
human being, there's physically no way that we can consciously understand infinity or anything that's infinite.
Yeah.
There's physically no way that we can grasp the existence of something that is infinite. But we can try and visualize it. We can get as close we can get as close as possible. But obviously we'll never truly understand. That's just
Now
something that we can't do.
all right, I know it's kind of links to it a little bit, but I got another idea to talk about here. With the concept of infinity, there's a lot of mystery behind it and a lot of unknown factors in it, like what could lie beyond infinity, even though there's no beyond infinity because it goes on forever. But do you understand what I mean?
How do we know that if we can't understand infinity?
Like, for example, let me give an example of cosmos. It's like we don't know how big it is exactly. We don't know. We just predict it's infinitely expanding, and then one point it will just collapse in itself again. And
Universe 2
we
electric
don't know
boost.
what's out there, and that kind of gave birth to the idea of aliens and stuff. But have you ever heard of a guy called Lovecraft?
H.P. Lovecraft, yep.
H.P. Lovecraft. He played around with the concept that. Now, I watched a little bit of a story behind it and all that, and apparently he based his ideas because it was just after the First World War. Everyone had saw true horror at that point. Everyone had seen basically everything they could have feared. So he needed to think of an example that blows away all that fear. So he created the Cthulhu mythos, and it's just literally creatures that we can't comprehend in our minds, literally create things that we look at and we would go crazy looking at them.
That reminds me of a topic that me and Oryn share an interest in, the SCP universe. Oryn, yeah.
SCP.
Oryn, I know you I know you have a particular interest in this, so I don't know whether you feel comfortable speaking,
Oh.
but would you like to introduce it to people that maybe have never heard of the SCP universe?
Nah, Google it.
You're a good host. Basically, the SCP universe sort of comes from back when there used to be a very strong community of people that were interested in creepypastas. Something that a lot of people who are new to the internet, maybe younger people, aren't very familiar with. But a few examples off the top of my head. You've got Jeff the Killer, Slenderman.
Wait, were they part of the?
Yeah,
Oh, Jeff the
the-
Killer gives me the creeps. I can't stand him.
Siren Head's also a SCP now.
So yeah, so it's.
Let me give an example.
Go
Was it in 193?
on. SCP. I'm not too familiar with the numbers.
SCP-193, that's the statue that snaps people's necks, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Or was it 198? It's
Mate,
not.
if you've ever watched Doctor Who, it's basically the Weeping Angels. But a statue that looks like it has green
SCP-96. That's the one with the when you look at
SCP-96, that's the Rake, the tall guy. That if you look at him, you're dead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was based off the.
Or I think the one you were talking about is that SCP-173 or 193.
193, the one that Ethan said.
Right.
Yeah, 193. Can you search it up for us?
Oryn, this is your job.
No, 173.
Yeah.
This is.
There was another one that I was thinking about.
Yeah, Oryn, you're young Jamie from the JRE. That's your job. Jamie,
You know what?
Jamie, could you pull that up, please?
John put it into the podcast.
SCP-106, that's the creepy one. That's the one that I found completely unsettling.
Why? What are we talking about? The SCP-106?
That's the one that only goes after people between the ages of like 0 and 25, and he just touches you, puts you in your own pocket universe, and feeds off your nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
He's all like necrotic and shit.
Obviously, that goes back to Ethan, what you were saying about H.P. Lovecraft. Very Lovecraftian in nature.
How? There's no tentacles.
I was more talking about the fact that it plays with the
Very
idea
mysterious.
of universes and something that's out of our mortal
Comprehension.
knowledge. Yeah, exactly, comprehension. Nice one.
Yeah, there's only a
So do you just
Speaking
want to
about like
get
multiple
some images
universes,
up?
the amount of SCPs that have to do with like several universes. Let me just Google it now.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's because it stems from H.P. Lovecraft. Well, I'm assuming that it takes inspiration from H.P.
Wasn't
Lovecraft, and that whole
I'm
genre
sure
of
it's like
horror stemmed
SCP-1
from.
or something like that. That was something.
I know, obviously, there's stupid entries to the SCP universe, like what was it, the
The
state,
Tickle Monster.
or the state of Wisconsin is like now an SCP or something stupid like that.
You've got the
Yeah, because
slime.
like it's just a web forum SCP. All in
Yeah,
all, it's just a web forum.
You've got the
There's a few
slime
like
cure
really horrible
suppression.
ones. There's like the Infinite Staircase. That one's fucking terrifying.
that just reminds me of
Oh
Super Mario
yeah.
64.
I know, but like the Infinite Staircase, on surface level, there's nothing wrong with it. But the deeper you dig into it, or just like the universe in general, it's fucked. Like it just is fucked.
I hate the staircase. I saw that story. I just hate it so much.
You should. It's horrible.
I can see you two are really getting into. Oren, I knew you'd be a big fan of me bringing up the SCP universe.
It's literally a staircase that.
It's just literally just an infinite staircase, and the further you go down, the more likely you are to get killed by this eldritch abomination, apparently, or that you can't see.
Oh
But it
yeah, that's what I was thinking of before. I didn't want to say because I wasn't too sure of the name, but yeah, Eldritch Abominations.
eldritch abominations, yeah.
Mm.
Well, you can't actually see it, but all you can see is like eyes and a mouth. You know that fucking like scary eye mouth PNG.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No,
that. I'll
that
look
just
for it
freaks
now.
me out.
I really don't want to see. Just from your description, I don't want to see. Also,
I
this podcast is going to be audio only, so I feel like it'd be awkward to be showing up media that none of the viewers are going to be able to see.
But like, we have the satisfaction of being able to see. So
Well,
I'm
that doesn't
not. I don't
translate
want to
very good
take
to
that
the audience, though,
satisfaction.
does it?
Thanks.
Yeah.
okay then.
I feel like this music really doesn't fit with the topic right now. We were talking about what? We were talking about the Second World War, the assassination of
Archduke
Archduke
Franz
Franz
Ferdinand.
Ferdinand. We were talking about Hitler. Uh,
The Mandela effect, and then you
yeah,
moved on to like
parallel universes, the SCP Foundation, and just in the background we just got some,
smooth jazz.
yeah,
Oscar Peterson.
yeah, some Oscar Peterson piano jazz music.
It's very
I
smooth.
recommended it.
Very smooth.
Very smooth. Welcome back to the SCP again.
Yeah, let's go
It's just
back to the SCP universe. Let's all just like
I knew you want to spend some time on this.
yeah.
Speaking of time,
Everyone
we
just
are nearing
Google
the
like
hour.
a random SCP and then just talk about it.
I
oh,
don't want
good
to do
idea.
that.
I'm gonna
feel
go
like
for
it would not.
2000.
Oh, there is actually a random SCP picker as well, so just go on it.
Of course there is.
Um,
I feel like it is going to be very unprofessional talking about this. Obviously, I don't want to say live on air, but live on air. Uh, it feels so weird saying that. But we are 56 minutes 27 seconds in.
wow.
And you are
that's-
listening to 3 people.
You are listening to Jackmate's Happy Hour.
I got SCP-1622. Can we search that up?
SCP-1622.
SCP-1622. No, we're all going for like our own
Oh.
individual ones. I got SCP-4085.
Why did I get a picture of an ingrown carrot?
This is what I like about the SCP universe. A lot of it is horror, and it is meant to be horror. But obviously,
Oh,
you've got stupid entries. Like I'm assuming that entry is just an ingrown carrot, and then
oh no, no, no,
yeah.
no, no, no! It's something different.
Oh no.
All right.
It turns
I'll
out it's
read.
just
I'll read it.
some unborn fetus that's like angry against its mum and just went on a killing spree against
No,
women.
Yeah,
it's
no, there's
the.
no actual
I saw
images on
one
Google of
shot.
SCP-4085, so I'm just gonna have
Wait.
to read.
Let me,
Well,
let me
I-
read
I-
this out. Let me read this
Go
out.
on, yeah, Ethan, you read out first, then Aaron, we're gonna pass it over to you.
All right. So special containment procedures. At the time of writing, 7 kilograms of SCP-1622 is at site in a cold storage chamber, which superficially resembles a sunlit wooden pantry. What is a pantry? I'll put it in chat because I probably said that wrong.
Skibbity bop and dada.
Yeah, speaking of 7 kilograms, it makes the SCP a lot less intimidating when you think of it as 7 bags of sugar. It's like, oh yeah, it's this demon that can probably tear universes in half and like fit you in its anus or whatever, but it weighs 7 bags of sugar, so there's literally nothing to be scared of, because weight transmits perfectly into fear factor.
Just a little boy.
He's just a small little baby, 7 bags of sugar.
SCP-1622 is to be alone on its
Accidentally
shelf.
opened inspection tool.
Other shelves in the same chamber are to carry varying amounts of fuel,
Pule.
gold,
Pule.
fuel.
I'm assuming you
Pule.
said something wrong, because that doesn't
No,
sound like
it's
a real word.
P-U-L-E.
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 Right, I'm assuming that's a
I
fictional
mean,
material.
I just read through this one. I'm excited to talk about it.
Right, Ethan, I don't feel like hearing about your pule, so I'm gonna move straight on to Oryn's entry. Go on, the floor's yours.
Right, SCP-4085, Object Class Safe, Special Containment Procedures. The 11,000 square meters surrounding area SCP-4085
I know
has
it.
been purchased by the Foundation and converted to Site-90. All civilians leading the roads to Site-90 have been redirected. No personnel are allowed to enter SCP-4085 without authorization from the director of Site-90. Any personnel entering SCP-4085 are to be given currency to purchase items within SCP-4085. Absence of currency, attempting to exit with items from SCP-4085 without purchasing, or attacking instances of SCP-4085 may cause a Sigma window shopper event. Any personnel who are involved in the causation of a Sigma window shopper event are considered lost. So basically, what it is a shop called Shaggy's Playhouse, and if you do anything illegal in the shop, you are never found. And like all the products in the shop are called SCP-4085-A, and like that's really it.
Oh, can you buy
Right.
these items?
Produce
Can you
resembles
go and
human
buy them?
faces with wide open mouths. Non-ground meat products, excluding fish, resemble human limbs. The packaging products such as crisps and cookies appear normal, but when opened it can be observed that the contents are in the shape of human extremities such as fingers, noses, and tongues. So basically it's a shop where you buy cookies that are in the shape of a pee-pee.
That sounds really boring.
Yeah, I know, except if you get caught doing anything, and I mean anything illegal, as in taking stuff out of the shop, it causes something called a Sigma window to appear, and you're lost forever.
Sorry, I thought you said Sigma window then, and I was hoping that neither of us fell into the trap of saying what's Sigma.
What's your SCP?
Well, my SCP is SCP 1 hour, 1 minute, and 53 seconds into this recording, so we're gonna try and wrap it up here.
No.
Nope.
So you're not gonna leave until I've got my SCP, no?
Nope.
Right.
I'm picking another random one.
No, Ethan, we don't have time.
Yeah, you do.
We don't. After I pick my SCP, that's it. We're ending episode
Just
1.
tell me about it, and I'll read it out real quick.
Random SCP. Can I have a random SCP, please? No. Okay. Random SCP generator. Generator mix. Accept all link. SCP 1192. Timmy.
Okay.
SCP 1192. Oh, right.
Just tell us its object class.
Euclid.
Oh.
What is
SCP-1192 is contained in a dedicated aviary and is to be provided a diet of fruit supplemented with protein and vitamin additives, as it refuses to consume seeds and insects that are part of a normal diet for its species. SCP-1192 is to be provided with several pencils and pages of paper to allow it to communicate. In the case that SCP-1192 becomes belligerent, mild sedatives may be introduced into its food and water supply under close veterinary supervision.
Ah,
Right, without, like, TLDR, this is a bird. SCP-1192 is a cockatoo. That's all it is. It's literally just a bird. I'm skimming through it. There's no specific things. No, it's literally just a bird.
That's cool.
okay.
The
I-
SCP is just really weird. It's a weird concept.
You know what
But
else
it's a
is a
good one.
weird concept?
Don't say
The
it.
sponsor of today's podcast, NordVPN. NordVPN is a VPN service.
This
I hear you
isn't a
asking,
sponsor.
what's it?
This
What's
isn't a
right?
sponsor.
I'm joking. We're not sponsored. We don't have money.
We don't have subscribers.
Right. That brings us to a close. We are 1 hour and 5 minutes in, and no one's still listening. But in the hopes that one of you do listen, not one of us because we don't have the time, listen back to this. I'm gonna do a formal closing. Ethan, you did the opening, so I'm gonna close this off.
Hold on. Before we end the podcast,
Alright, with the side
Yeah,
notes of Oryn, I hope
you're
she's
not
really
coming
good.
back. You're definitely not coming back. Ethan, yeah, me and you are gonna go on our own little trip away from Oryn. Several countries away from Oryn.
fuck you, I don't need yous anyway.
I'm going to the courts, but we're getting a restraining order. Right. So, without spending too long on an outro, thanks for. I hope that you're still listening. So, thanks for listening, and
Can I just say one more thing
got-
before we all pop
No,
away?
you can't! This is like the third time I've tried to do an outro. Fuck off! Episode 2 is gonna come out whenever we can be bothered recording.